It's Paul Marsh here on Express. Delighted to say that I'm joined by Love Island winner and ex-teacher Kai Fagan. Thank you very much for joining me, sir.
No, thank you for having me.
So, Kai, let's face it, 2023 has been a pretty busy time for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, 2023. All I can say is that I feel blessed for all the experiences, but it's been a whirlwind of a year, and it's been an amazing year. Well, it was an amazing year.
Now, you're not relaxing and you're not sitting back on your laurels. You're making sure that 2024 is going to be just as busy. You've started a new rugby podcast called Scoring Ties.
Yes, I have started a new rugby podcast called Score and Try. So if anybody wants to follow it, go and follow it. We've been interviewing quite a lot of former England players, ex-England players, and players that have won it all. So it's quite interesting. First one comes out on Sunday with Freddie Stewart, England fullback.
Now, I'll be completely honest. I'm a football man, not a rugby man. So I know that there are a lot of football podcasts out there, like a lot. Are there a lot of rugby podcasts?
There's a few rugby podcasts, but I'd like to think that we're a bit different. We're not necessarily talking about rugby on it. We're talking more about the experiences, having a laugh, and just like having fun on it. So it's quite good. We've got some big names that are revealing some stories that you would never necessarily find out on a normal rugby podcast.
Do you know what? So I was talking the other day to somebody I know who I used to coach a few years ago, and he's just retired himself. And we were saying what we miss about it is not the actual 90 minutes of the game. It's the before, it's the after, it's the banter, it's the
Yeah,
coach on the way and everything else like that. So that's what you're going to be focusing on.
that's exactly what we're focusing on. So I don't think we want it to be able to hit the casual sports fan as well as like the casual rugby fan that doesn't necessarily know all the referees' names, all the coaches' names, all the players' names, but make it more identifiable to the people that know a bit about rugby, that know about the socials, that know about the culture. So that's what we've been really like honing in on.
Now, I wanted to give you a little piece of advice if it's okay, because you're going to be doing some skydiving, aren't you, later this year? You're going to be
I
doing
am going to be.
some skydiving to raise money for Action for Children. Have you haven't done skydiving before?
I've never skydived before, so I'm out my comfort zone so much.
Are you afraid of heights?
I'd say right now I'm not, but I think when I'm up there hundreds of
Right.
feet, then I'd probably say I am.
So I am afraid of heights, and I have done skydiving. The one thing that I can say is the instructor that you're going to be strapped to are pros. Close your eyes. Close your eyes, put faith in your instructor, and just enjoy it, is what I'm going to say to you.
No, you've got to keep your eyes open to it to
Well,
enjoy
once,
the
once
experience.
you're out of the plane, once you're
Yeah,
falling, then you can open them. But when you're sitting on the edge of that plane, waiting to be pushed out of it, let me tell
yeah.
you, you might want to close your eyes.
Okay.
Now, what we're here to talk about is obviously you are an ex-teacher, and what we're going to be talking about basically is children when they're in their final years of school. The opportunities that they have aren't always the ones that they know about. And now I can speak from experience. When I was growing up and when I left school, I had no idea that this is something I could ever be doing. When I left school, I went into construction, and it was only by pure chance that I was working in a bar and became a DJ and then got a slot on a radio. All chance. So, but the one thing that is much more open to youngsters growing up these days is the amount of opportunities that they can have.
Yeah, and that's something that I feel like children need to be made more aware of. I feel like when you're leaving school at 16 years old, it's very difficult. You're getting a lot of different options, and a lot of students just always assume that you have to go to university. In fact, the statistics say that 44% of students think that you have to go to university to get your dream goal and get your careers, when it's not necessarily the case. And I'm here supporting the Gatsby Charitable Foundation on the Technicians We Make a Difference campaign to show students that there are a lot of different options to get into the career pathways and the sectors that you want to get into.
So when this comes around and like yeah, thinking. So my thoughts were, if you go to college and university, it's English, math, science, psychology, all that type of stuff.
Mm.
I love my movies. I love radio. I love entertainment in it in any shape or form. Really, I had no idea that if I wasn't good enough to be on this, if I wasn't good enough to be on the microphone, then you can go and do jobs behind the scenes. And there's so many different options, isn't there?
Yeah, so many different options. So there's over 100 different technicians roles in multiple different sectors,
That's
and we all
crazy.
t- and we all take different skills, whether it's critical thinking, communications, or problem solving. But you can literally have a tech. start a job in technicians from anything. You can do anything from working in film and theatre as a lighting or sound technician to working outside as an agricultural technician. So there's a magnitude of different careers and jobs that you can go down. So if you're interested in one of those that I've just mentioned, or you're interested in something a bit more like food and drinks or working in TV, then there's technicians roles there for you.
So let's use this as an example. Obviously, you were on Love Island. A lot of people see, the people that are actually on screen. How many people were behind the scenes? The directors, the assistants, the caterers. How many people were behind the scenes?
Honestly, I could not tell you how many you. I don't think people realize how much goes into a television show. But the season that I was on was in South Africa, and I think there's probably about 10 of us of the cast in the villa at the time. But I can say outside that villa, there's probably huts of about 300-400 people all working to make sure that this show was successful.
Yeah, I think
And
that's
that goes from barbers, cooks, chefs, chaperones, cameramen. There's loads of producers.
So I've been taught, my little girl is, or say little girl, she's not that little anymore, she's 10. And I've been trying to sort of push her into learning a second language. She's learning Spanish and maybe even a third language. Because again, so whatever role you go into, whether, like you were saying, a barber, a caterer, whatever it is you go into, something like maybe a second language could take you all over the world. Like you were just saying, I know South Africa, we speak English, but it could take you all over the world to do whatever profession it is that you wanted to do.
Yes, it can do. And like I said, being a technician, there's hundreds of different roles. So if you want to, if you looked on sorry,
That's okay.
if you went on www.technicians.org.uk, you can go on there. You can have a look at all the different industries and sectors that have technicians roles there. Have a look at the people that are doing them and find a role that best suits you. So if you want to use your second language, I'm sure that there's going to be a role on there that suits you and that you'll be able to be at an advantage having that language.
Kai, thank you so much for talking to me. I've not only has it been important for me and my children, but I'm sure there's lots of mums and dads, and maybe even a few sort of teenagers listening right now that will think, well, this is actually something that I want to go and look at. So thank you so much for that, Kai.
No, thank you for having me.
Perfect. Cheers. Nice.